Hey everyone, it's Jonathan from Motorpsychology. Thanks for being here. For those people who are returning, greatly appreciated. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. So in today's video, it's just a simple swap out of an old starter motor for a new starter motor. So you'll see the entire process. It's not that difficult. It didn't take that long to do, but nevertheless, it's a good video that's showing how something like that could be done for those of you who are interested, and it's all part of the collective work that is being done on the C3 Corvette. So let's get into it, and thanks again for being here. Let's go. So here we are with the new starter motor that I'm going to be putting into the C3 Corvette. Let's just check it out and see what we got here. Oh, that's pretty heavy. Okay, this is the new starter motor that is going to go in and replace the old one. It looks pretty much the same. It's an AC Delco product. And yeah, I'll be putting that in once I get the old one out, which is going to be happening really soon. One thing to notice here is that there's some shims here, and I think I've got 4 or 5 of them. These things are normally shimmed when they are fixed to your car. So when I take out the old one, I want to count how many shims are used, and then I will just put the same amount of shims back in, if they're the same size, which they probably are, the same amount of shims back inside when I reinstall this, and it should be good to go. So that's the new starter motor. We'll have another look side-by-side comparison once I get the old one out, but that's what I'm working with. AC Delco should be a great fit for the C3 Corvette. So let's get out in the garage and get the other starter motor off of that C3 Corvette. All right, here's what we're looking at here. Here's the starter motor. It goes to the flywheel, which is exposed under here, and we're going to pull this off. One of the reasons for taking this off is it's been a little bit problematic, but it's old and probably should be replaced. But more importantly, since the oil pan is off here, and I also have the exhaust off as well, normally you'd have to either move this out of the way somehow if it was still connected, because there's not a lot of space between the exhaust and the starter motor. So while I've got the space, I'm going to switch this up and get this replaced, because I don't want to do it again at a later time. So that's what I'm getting ready to do, and let's get it started. So these bolts here are 9/16. And this little bolt at the end is, what is it? It's 7/16 there. So I'm going to take this off here, and before you get started, you have to disconnect your battery, which I've done a long time ago, so I'm good in that area. So I'm going to detach. This is the positive line here, and very simple to get out. Come on. There we go. Pull this off, keeping track of where the little washers go. Perfect. Stick this back on. That was a lock washer, you guys. And stick that on. All right. I don't think I can access the solenoid wires until I get this lowered. I'm just going to check from the top if I can get at them. Yeah, definitely nothing I can get from the top. So let's loosen these guys, which were the 9/16 bolt here. Probably won't be able to get them off with this little wrench, but you never know. There we go. That's great. loose. This one I've got to push the exhaust out of the way a little bit here. There we go. That one I can't do myself. Time for the breaker bar. I'm just trying my other ratchet with longer extension here. Okay, there we go, no problem. It's cracked. So this starter motor is pretty heavy, especially if it's coming down from the car. Yeah, I can already see it lowering. So remember I mentioned about the shims. We'll have a look and see how many shims are in this thing. It's just about ready to come out here. Oh, it's so annoying working next to this exhaust pipe. All right, let me take this one out. That's a super long bolt there. Just a cleanup and it can go back in, no problem. All right, that's out. Now I can drop this to a certain degree. Maybe it can rest there, which would be excellent. Nice that those have a function. Okay. There's the starter motor from looking at it from the front to the back. And there's the solenoid. So I have to unclip these two little wires here before I can take this off. So I'm going to do that now. All right, so it's just about removing this little guy here. That one's out. And for the big one, it's like a lot of things, a 9/16. So this should come off pretty easily. Whoops, gotta hold on to this sucker. There we go. And slide this off. There we go. Slide this guy off. Perfect. Now I can lower this starter motor out of here. Oh, there's one more attachment somewhere. Right here. Oh, there we go. There's the starter motor out. And a bunch of miscellaneous wires up here as well. So I'm going to get the new starter motor ready to go in, and it should be very straightforward. All right, here is the old starter motor out of the C3 that I just pulled. It's still super cold. You know, apart from it looking old and dirty, it's still totally functional. So, like I said, I didn't need to necessarily pull it out, but I can tell you that in the summertime, when I'm running the car and I take it for a drive and I park it somewhere, next time I go to start it, this starter motor doesn't work. So it needs to cool down, or something in the solenoid needs to cool down before this thing will start up properly. So apart from it being a really good opportunity for me to change up the starter motor, I think it was also time as well. And this is all gooed up with various types of oil that has splashed off from the, I don't know, old oil pan, and whatever seals weren't working. So you know what, it'll be great to get the new starter motor in. And here are the bolts for it. They're both identical, so I'm going to have to clean those things up, which I'm going to do right now, and then I'm going to come back and do a side-by-side comparison with both of these things. All right, let's do the side-by-side comparison. There's the bolts that are nice and clean, ready to be reinstalled with the new starter motor. So I'll set those over there. Here's the old starter motor, still freezing cold. Let's pull out this one. Cut this off, don't need it. And cut and save these shims. So this one didn't have any shims on it, so I'm not going to use any shims on here. If I find out that I need them, I will use them. That's what the shims look like. So the shims would normally go up here and just shim in between where the bolts go and where it mounts with the engine block, and you can keep on layering on the shims if you need it. So far I don't, so I'm good with that. Side-by-side comparison, there are a few slight differences, none which really matter at all. So the main housing between both are identical, exactly the same. The main difference that I see right off the bat is the end. So this one has a much more interesting end, I guess, to it. Back end, it's nice shape, looks good, and the connection is here. This guy here is flat. The actual connection is on the top, which isn't going to make any difference unless my wire doesn't reach it, but I'm sure it will. Other than that, they look pretty much identical and will definitely perform exactly the same. So I'm happy with that. And the next step is going to be outside again, underneath the C3 in freezing temperatures. I'm letting my garage warm up. Then I'm going to go in and quickly install that, and that should be it. Another area where you can check to make sure your starter motor will work is the number of teeth that are on this wheel here. Need to match, obviously, the number of teeth that are on this one here. And they do. So that's not a real issue for me. I'm glad that they're the same. Looking forward to getting this installed. So I'm going to move outside and start getting this hooked up, which I imagine is not really going to take too long. Just a quick wipe down of this area here as much as possible. All right, time to put the starter motor back in. So apart from being super heavy and awkward, see if I can get one of these in. This little clip here clips on the solenoid. Done. And let's see. Move my camera out of the way here. Great. All right, I'm just gonna sit it in here. I can rest on these lines if that's gonna work out. All right, just working on some of these here. This guy is gonna rest. This guy's going to go on here. Tighten this guy up. All right, that's on. Now it's just a matter of getting these things in place. Let's take this off. And the lock washer. We are going to stick these guys here. And this one. Tighten it up. New lock washer. This guy. Different size. Nice. This one is a 5/8. There's that one installed. And I just got to put this little guy in. Take this tiny little lock washer off. All right, time to put this guy on. Find the lock washer. So small. A little nut here. Get that on. And tighten it up with this guy here. And then we're ready to put the rest in place. There we go. All the connections on. Time to put the starter motor up into position. All right, let's get this a try getting in here. Got all the wires hooked up. It's just a matter of getting this guy set up and the bolts in. And we'll stick this one on as well, if we can get it around the old that could be a challenge, lining that hole up. All right, got that bolt in and that bolt in. Just going to tighten them up now. All right, so we're here just getting the final bolts on there. Installing the new one. There, that's nicely in. In. There we go. That's the installation of the starter motor on there. I have a small issue here where this tab here is jammed onto this piece of metal there, so I'm going to fix that. Show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, I just noticed an issue there where this bolt, because it's slightly different than the original one, is also rubbing or bending on this metal here, so I don't want that. So I'm going to have to come in here with a cut-off wheel and just cut the little bit of that off, and that way it won't be touching. So I'm going to do that, and that will finish the installation of this starter motor. Just having a look at it, there's the starter motor. As it is there, it's looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to use my little Dremel cutting wheel to hopefully get this guy off. That looks like a good solution there. One more time. I'm just going to pry this sucker back out of place a little bit. There we go. Now we're good. Starter motor is in and we're good to go. So here we are. Starter motor is in and not looking too bad. All right, let's call that a day on the starter motor. A little bit of a pain in the butt to finish it up, but you know what? Looks good and I'm happy I put it in. Hey everyone, that concludes the video on the starter motor removal and replacement on that C3 Corvette there. Hopefully you found the video interesting and hopefully useful someday if you ever have to replace your starter motor in your C3 Corvette or Chevy 350 5.7Ltr V8 engine. Thanks for your support. I'll be working on some more videos and having them out very, very soon. So until the next one, take care everyone and see you all soon.